This video will show you how to configure claim value providers so that the Curity Identity Server knows how to assign values to claims when issuing tokens. The token designer is used to configure them. In the admin UI, go to an auth profile, then choose the Scopes option from the sidebar menu. Then edit a chosen claim or add a new one. In the pop-up, first you need to choose a claims provider. Different claims providers can be configured in the Curity Identity Server, and each reads values from different sources. If you use the basic setup wizard, then you will have an account manager provider already on the list. This provider reads users' data from an account manager to fill claims. You can check the documentation to read about other providers. Once you've chosen a provider, you have to select which attributes from the provider should be used as the claims value. In the case of an account manager claims provider, these are the attributes which you would normally see on a scheme representation of a user account, for example, name or phone numbers. The claims provider has an option to automatically map these attributes to OpenID Connect claims. So if this option is on, then the provider exposes attributes with names as used in an OpenID profile. For example, underscore is used instead of camel case. The next step is to choose a transformation. If only one attribute was chosen in the previous step, then transformation is not required, and the attribute's value will be used directly as the claims value. If more than one attribute was chosen, then a transformation is needed so that the provider knows how to change those values into one claim. The transformation is a JavaScript function which accepts a map of the attributes defined in the previous step and should return a single value. This value can be of a simple type, like a string or a number, or represent a complex object, like a map or a list. Once the transformation is defined, it's useful to test the provider. Click on the Run Test button to open a new tab for testing the provider. Two types of tests are available depending on the chosen claims provider. Use the Subject tab for an Account Manager claims provider and the Authentication Attributes tab for Subject or Context Authentication Attributes provider. I will first use the Subject tab, as I'm using the Account Manager claims provider. To run a test, I need to provide an account from my system and a client for which the test should run. Clients can have overrides of claims mappers, and this test takes that into consideration. I can also select scopes to check how the value is affected by the requested scopes. I will leave that empty for now, but if I selected any of the scopes, then the resulting claim would show a value only if it was associated with one of the selected scopes. Once I run the test, I get to see how the claims value looks before and after transformation is applied. I will now change the claims provider to use Context Authentication Attributes provider. I need to choose an attribute that is exposed by the provider, and that depends on the authentication flow. I can easily check the available attributes using the Debug Action. To do that, I will quickly switch to Authenticators and edit the username password authenticator. I'll add the Debug Action to the login flow. Now, when I log in, I will see the debug screen, which shows all the available subject and context attributes. I can use the copy button to easily copy both structures, as I will need this to run my test later. I can now go back to the claims editor and choose an attribute which I know will show up in the context attributes section. I paste the JSON from the debug action and select the client. When I run the test, I get the expected result for the claim value.